I stretched my ankle.
That means I can't stand straight up on the chair if I sit down, right?
He's not that tall.
Huh?
That tall.
Tall enough, he doesn't need anything to.
I just meant to stay out of the way of the camera.
Oh, you're fine.
Can I have your attention, please? We're going to be delayed in our start time because we're going to try and prepare the room for relocation so we can better accommodate this increased attendance. So patience with us, please. Staff and security are working on getting courtroom 1 set up for us. So go back to conversation and I'll be back to make a report. Thank you. So the board members will see which one
This is my son, Sam.
How you doing, Sam? Nice to meet you.
And this is Bianca over here.
Okay, Bianca. Nice to meet you.
This is Anthony.
Yes. This is Reed. The house is on You can get it on Facebook. You can get it on Facebook Okay. If you attack where your house is over
That was just fine. You got Is this going to be good enough for you, Rob? That's right. You can adjust it.
You remember how those work, don't you?
He might need help. He might need help.
Once again, I'm not in your way, right?
Nope, you're just fine.
I'm Jen, by the way.
That was a quick rush.
Hey, wait a minute, I got to send you this. You can pull this up on the internet. Anyway, let me tell you. Indiana has $3 billion. And they're paying cash for their expenses. Whenever you guys reserve like that, they say, we ain't wrong here.
First of all, thank you for your patience in this quick shuffle in getting us reset and ready to proceed. I have 7:07 according to my watch, but I will call this meeting of the Coles County Board to order, and we'll have roll call, please.
Marone?
Here.
Bell?
Here.
Coffee?
Here.
Corey?
Here.
Daly?
Here.
Doty?
Here.
Dowdy?
Here.
Marvin?
Here.
Metzger?
Yes.
Purdy? Here. Shook?
Here.
Zuhon?
Here. At this time, there are really no announcements per se. I will continue with a short invocation. Gracious Father, in these days of unrest and times of worry and confusion and sometimes anger and violence, touch these board members with your calming guidance. Help us to be mindful of those that elected us, to labor on their behalf, to do the business of the county and represent them to the best of our ability. In Jesus' name, amen. Please join me in a moment of silent reflection for all. Please join me in the our nation pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The minutes have been put into your board packet for your review. Is there a need for discussion? Is there a motion to approve? A motion by Daly to approve, seconded by Ms. Corey. Roll call, please.
Barone?
Yes.
Bell?
Yes.
Coffee?
Yes.
Corey?
Yes.
Daly?
Yes.
Doty?
Yes.
Dowdy?
Yes.
Marvin?
Yes.
Metzger?
Yes.
Purdy? Yes. Shook?
Yes.
Zuhon?
Yes. I have appointments to conclude, 2 appointments to the North Conservancy District. Reappoint Jeff Yoder until August of 2024. Appoint Ned Helsley until August of 2023. With advice and consent of the board, I do so. Roll call.
Barone?
Yes.
Bell?
Yes.
Coffee?
Yes.
Corey?
Yes.
Daly.
Yes.
Doty.
Yes.
Dowdy.
Yes.
Marvin.
Yes.
Metzger.
Yes.
Purdy.
Yes.
Shook.
Yes.
Zuhon.
Yes. One appointment to be announced to the Emergency Telephone Service Board, the 911 Board. At this time, the resumes are in your board packet. With advice and consent, I appoint John Hedges Sr. Roll call, please.
Barone.
Yes.
Bell.
Yes.
Coffee.
Yes.
Corey.
Yes.
Daly.
Yes.
Doty.
Yes.
Dowdy.
Yes.
Marvin.
Yes.
Metzger.
Yes.
Purdy.
Yes.
Shook.
Yes.
Zuhon.
Yes, and that appointment goes through June of 2021. One appointment to the Senior Citizens Board. This time I'd like to submit Bonnie Stark until November of 2022. With advice and consent of the board, please. Roll call.
Barone.
Yes.
Bell.
Yes.
Coffee.
Yes.
Corey.
Yes.
Daly.
Yes.
Doty.
Yes.
Dowdy.
Yes.
Marvin.
Yes.
Metzger.
Yes.
Purdy.
Yes.
Shook.
Yes.
Zuhon.
Yes. Her resume is also in your board packet. This time I would like to appoint Denise Shores as Supervisor of Assessments until August of 2023 with advice and consent of the board. Roll call.
Barone.
Yes.
Bell.
Yes.
Coffee.
Yes.
Corey.
Yes.
Daly.
Yes.
Doty.
Yes.
Dowdy.
Yes.
Marvin.
Yes.
Metzger.
Yes.
Purdy.
Yes.
Shook.
Yes.
Zuhon.
Yes. This time we'll move on to committee reports. Buildings and Grounds, Mr. Coffin, please.
The Building and Grounds Committee met at 5:12 p.m. on July 29th with the following members in attendance: Rick Shook, Nancy Purdy, Juan Barone, and myself, Chairman presiding. Also attending were Monty Walters, Maintenance Supervisor, and Lisa McMichaels, Administrative Assistant. Under maintenance updates, Mr. Walters updated the members on the activities of the maintenance department as follows. The final fan coil has been replaced in the courthouse. We had a discussion on the ramp, which we will be using when the elevator repair goes through, so we are still handicap accessible. Mr. Walters made a contact with Platinum Company to lease a temporary ramp rather than build one. Mrs. Purdy made a motion to lease the ramp. The motion was seconded by Mr. Barone, and that motion carried unanimously. Mr. Walters also discussed other future projects such as LED lighting and toilet replacements in the jail. There's no old business, no new business, no miscellaneous business, and the meeting adjourned at 5:43 p.m. on a motion by Mr. Shook and second by Mr. Purdy.
Thank you, Mr. Coffin. Mr. Bell, the County Office of Rules Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The County Office of Rules Committee was called to order at 4:30 p.m. August 5th, 2019. There was no tax cycle update this meeting. There was no old business, and there was no new business. The board discussed the position of Supervisor of Assessment, and the meeting adjourned at 5:01 p.m. on a motion by Mr. Metzger and a second by Ms. Porter.
Thank you. Finance Committee, Emergency Food and Shelter Board, Mr. Johnson.
No meetings.
All right, thank you. The Emergency 911 Board, Mr. Shook.
No meeting.
Thank you. Finance Committee, Mr. Mr. Metzger, the chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Finance Committee was called to order August 5th, 2019 at 5:05 p.m. with the following members present: Brandon Bell, Brian Marvin, Mike Zuhon, Stan Metzger, Chairman presiding. Travis Coffey arrived after the first motion was completed. Also attending were George Edwards, Treasurer Julie Cole, County Clerk Alex Hagan of Weston Company, and Lisa McMichaels, Administrative Assistant. There was no Treasurer's update. In old business, the members discussed the bond issue. An order of intent from First Mid-State was presented to members. Mr. Zuhon moved to forward this to the County Board. It was seconded by Bell and carried unanimously. At this time, I so move.
Thank you. There's a motion to pass a resolution for order of intent to enter into a bond agreement with First Mid-State. Is there a second to that? Second by Mr. Bell. Discussion, clarification needed. If not, roll call please.
Barone,
Yes.
Bell,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Daly,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Dowdy,
Yes.
Marvin,
Yes.
Metzger,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
Yes.
Zuhon.
Yes.
In new business, Mr. Hagan discussed the annual audit. He added that there were no findings and the audit went exceptionally well. Item 2, the members were presented with a resolution regarding adding a land records access revenue and expense line item. Mr. Coffey made a motion to forward this resolution to the board, and Mr. Marvin seconded it, and it carried unanimously. I do want to make this motion, I want to make this motion with the amendment, with amending the expense line item from $10,000 to 37, excuse me, 37,200. Revenue is 44,400, I believe. Their expenses will be projected to be $37,200. So moved. Moved
As
and
amended.
amended.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me, I'm parliamentary procedure on that one. I need to make my motion and then amend it. So I'll make the motion as it's stated.
As stated, and then due to
Correct. If I get a second.
recalculation.
If I get a second, I'll amend it.
Okay, Mr.
Second.
Looks like Mr. Marvin is offering a second.
I'd like to amend that main motion then as I stated by changing the expense line item to $37,200.
Okay.
You need a second for that as well.
Need a second for that, and then we actually vote on the amendment before we
Correct.
vote on the actual motion. Mr. Shook makes a second on the amended motion, the motion to amend the original. Everybody clear or on where we're at? Okay.
Just a second, please.
Okay.
Brain dead.
Brain dead.
Okay, are we ready?
Yes.
Okay, roll call, please, on the amendment to the original motion.
Barone,
Yes.
Bell,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Daly,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Dowdy,
Yes.
Marvin,
Yes.
Metzger,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
Yes.
Zuhon.
Yes. Okay, that motion passes. Now we are going to, there's been a motion and a second. We will have roll call or any further discussion first, and then roll call vote on the motion to enter these line items into the budget as amended. Everybody clear? So, roll call please.
Barone? Yes.
Bell,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Daly,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Dowdy,
Yes.
Marvin,
Yes.
Metzger,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
Yes.
Zuhon.
Yes.
Item 3, five tax sale resolutions were presented for consideration. Mr. Coffey, motion to forward these to the county board. It was seconded by Bell, carried unanimously. At this time, I so move.
There's a motion to approve the tax sale resolutions. Is there a second? Mr. Coffey seconds. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Barone,
Yes.
Bell,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Daly,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Dowdy,
Yes.
Marvin,
Yes.
Metzger,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
Yes.
Zuhon.
Yes.
The meeting adjourned at 5:34 p.m. on a motion by Marvin, second by Coffey.
Thank you, Mr. Metzger. Health and safety. Rich, I'm the chair. The Health and Safety Committee meeting was held on July 29th. It's called to order at 4:30 p.m. with the following members present: John Doty, Nancy Purdy, Rick Shook, and myself presiding. Mr. Metzger was unable to be there. Also attending Dan Ensign, EMA Director, Kelly Lockhart, Sarah Mummel, RPD, Judy Dieters from the Care Center, and Lisa McMichael's Administrative Assistant. Care Center update, a number of reports were distributed to the members. Ms. Dieters reported 2 impounds that were totally neglected. They are being cared for. back, on their way back to good health. Discussion followed. The EMA update. Mr. Ensign presented the board with a resolution approving intergovernmental do not self-deploy agreement by and between the cities of Charleston and Mattoon and the county of Coles. Mr. Doty made a motion to forward to the county board. This motion was seconded by Mr. Shook. The motion carried. And at this time, I would ask for a motion to bring this to the board.
So,
Thank you, Mr. Doty. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Purdy offers a second. Any need for discussion and clarification? If not, this is, go ahead, Mr. Daly.
Question on the cities of Lerna and Humboldt, Oakland. They're not covered under this resolution.
They are not entered into this agreement. I'm not certain why they're not excluded from the county. But I do not, this was based as Mr. Ensign brought it forward. Should we table this?
I don't have a problem with it. I just noticed that there were 3 municipalities not in this resolution, and I wondered.
I would suggest we go forward with this, and
And then
then
add-
if it needs additions or clarification later, go that way.
Okay.
My understanding that it was Mattoon had a plan and Charleston had a plan, and so, Vernon, the others
So
don't
maybe,
have a separate
they don't
plan.
have plans. Okay.
But they're included in our overall county plan.
Okay.
As chair of that committee, I'll get back with Mr. Ensign and report back at that time. Okay, roll call, please.
Barone,
Yes.
Bell,
yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Corey. Yes. Is that a yes?
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Dowdy,
Yes.
Marvin,
Yes.
Yes.
Metzger. Purdy.
Yes.
Shook,
Yes.
Zuhon.
There was no old business. Under new business, Mr. Lockhart and Ms. Mummel discussed the tipping fee budget with the board. It has been forwarded to the finance committee. There's no miscellaneous business. The meeting adjourned at 5:08. A motion from Mr. Doty and a second by Ms. Purdy. Insurance committee, Mr. Daly.
There was an insurance meeting earlier this evening, and I'll have a report next month on the work of that committee. Then we also had a SERMA meeting in Bloomington in July, and I'm pleased to report that SERMA may have their best year in its history. Losses have been controlled, and we're looking to have an excellent year.
Okay, thank you. There was no liquor commission activity, mental health, Mr.
No minutes to report.
Okay, thank you. Planning and development, Mr. Metzger.
Yes, sir. Planning and Development Committee was called to order July 25th, 2019 at 4:30 p.m. with the following members present: Paul Daly, John Doty, Jeremy Dowdy, and Stan Metzger, chairman presiding. Brandon Bell was unable to attend. Also attending were Kelly Lockhart, RPDC, Julie Coe, county clerk, Patty Hicks, executive director of Lifespan Center, and Lisa McMichaels, administrative assistant. IT update. Mr. Lockhart presented the board with 2020 budget. Budget was discussed. Mr. Daly moved forward this to the Finance Committee. Motion was seconded by Doty and carried unanimously. GIS update. Mr. Lockhart presented the board with 2020 budget for GIS. Budget was discussed. Mr. Doty moved forward this to the Finance Committee. Motion was seconded by Dowdy and carried unanimously. There was no old business. In new business, Julie Coe, Coles County Clerk, presented the board with a resolution regarding the sale of fireworks. Ms. Coe recommended to the board to amend the permit fee. Mr. Daly motioned to amend the fee to $100. The motion was seconded by Mr. Dowdy and carried unanimously. And at this time, I so move.
Mr. Metzger moved to raise the sale of fireworks in the unincorporated areas of the county from $5 to $100. Is there a second? We have a second by Mr. Daly. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Yes.
Bell.
Yes.
Coffee.
Yes.
Corey. Yes. Daly.
Yes.
Doty.
Yes.
Dowdy.
Yes.
Marvin.
Yes.
Metzger.
Yes.
Purdy. Yes. Shook.
Yes.
Zuhon.
Yes.
I guess just for a little bit of clarification there, the city's charge is it $1,500 and $2,500?
Yes.
So the county's a bargain. Mr. Lockhart presented the board with a resolution for fiscal year 2020 Uniform Downstate Operating Assistance Program Grant number 0OP-20-06-IL, agreement number 5023, to accept the grant agreement. Mr. Doty moved to forward this resolution to the county board. It was seconded by Daly and carried unanimously. At this time, I so move.
There is a motion to approve the grant agreement. There is a second by Mr. Dowdy. Further discussion? Not roll call, please.
Barone.
Yes.
Bell.
Yes.
Coffee.
Yes.
Corey. Yes. Daly.
Yes.
Doty.
Yes.
Dowdy.
Yes.
Marvin.
Yes.
Metzger.
Yes.
Yes. Shook.
Yes.
Zuhon.
Yes.
Mr. Lockhart also presented the board with a resolution for approving fiscal year 2020 Uniform Grant Agreement, Section 5311, Operating Assistance Program Grant numbers OP-20-06-FED, Agreement number 5078. Mr. Doty motioned to accept this grant agreement, and Mr. Dowdy seconded it, carried unanimously, and at this time I so move.
Mr. Metzger's made a motion to accept the grant. Is there a second? Grant agreement. Yes. Mr. Coffey, second. Roll call, please.
Barone.
Yes.
Bell.
Yes.
Coffee.
Yes.
Corey. Yes. Daly.
Yes.
Doty.
Yes.
Dowdy.
Yes.
Marvin.
Yes.
Metzger.
Yes.
Purdy. Yes. Shook.
Yes.
Zuhon.
Yes.
There was no miscellaneous business, and the meeting adjourned at 4:59 p.m. on a motion by Daly and a second by Dowdy.
Thank you, Mr. Metzger. Covered there. Public Health Board, there was no meeting. Road and Bridge Committee, Mr. Daly.
The Road and Bridge Committee met on August the 5th, 2019. It was called to order at 6 o'clock p.m. Following was present, Tom Doty, Rick Shook, Travis Coffey, and myself, Chairman presiding. Also attending was Rick Johnson, County Engineer, and Lisa McMichaels, Administrative Assistant. There was no old business. Under new business, Mr. Johnson presented the members with the resolution to award a contract for bridge replacement project on PR-43, County Road 1600 North, 7 Hickory Township, to Depew and Owen Builders, Incorporated, Section 96-12127-00PR. Motion was made by Mr. Coffey and seconded by Mr. Shook. This time I so move.
Mr. Daly. Is there a second? Thank you, Mr. Shook. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Barone.
Yes.
Bell.
Yes.
Coffee.
Yes.
Corey. Yes. Daly.
Yes.
Doty.
Yes.
Dowdy.
Yes.
Marvin.
Yes.
Metzger.
Yes.
Purdy. Yes. Shook.
Yes.
Zuhon.
Yes.
A cost share with North Oakall Township for culvert replacement on TR-20, County Road 150 East, was presented to the members. Mr. Doty moved to forward the agreement to the county board, seconded by Mr. Coffey. I so move at this time.
Thank you. Mr. Dowdy offers a second. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Barone.
Yes.
Bell.
Yes.
Coffee.
Yes.
Corey. Yes. Daly.
Yes.
Doty.
Yes.
Dowdy.
Yes.
Marvin.
Yes.
Metzger.
Yes.
Purdy. Yes. Shook.
Yes.
Zuhon.
Yes.
Cost share with Morgan Township for a culvert replacement on TR-266 CR 1880 East was presented to the members with Mr. Doty making a motion and Mr. Shook seconding. I so move at this time.
Thank you. Is there a second? Mr. Doty offers a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Barone.
Yes.
Bell.
Yes.
Coffee.
Yes.
Corey. Yes. Daly.
Yes.
Doty.
Yes.
Dowdy.
Yes.
Marvin.
Yes.
Metzger.
Yes.
Purdy. Yes. Shook.
Yes.
Zuhon.
Yes.
Cost share with Paradise Township for 2 culvert replacements located on TR-38, CR 330 East, and TR-247A at CR 250 North was presented to the members with Mr. Doty making a motion and a second by Mr. Coffey. I so move at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Daly. A second? Mr. Coffey makes a second. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Barone,
Yes.
Bell,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Corey. Yes. Daly,
Yes.
Jody,
Yes.
Dowdy,
Yes.
Marvin,
Yes.
Metzger,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
Yes.
Zuham.
Yes.
An intergovernmental agreement with Cumberland County to share costs in the replacement of county line structure number 18-3022. Mr. Shook made the motion, Mr. Doty second. I so move at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Daly. There's a motion to enter into an agreement with Cumberland County for cost share. There is a second by Mr. Dowdy. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Barone,
Yes.
Bell,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Corey. Yes. Daly,
Yes.
Jody,
Yes.
Dowdy,
Yes.
Marvin,
Yes.
Metzger.
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
Yes.
Zuham.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson distributed the county engineer's report to the members and it's in your board packet. There was no miscellaneous business. The meeting adjourned at 6:25 on the motion by Mr. Doty and a second by Mr. Coffey.
Thank you, Mr. Daly. To Mr. Johnson and that committee, you are being commended for doing all of that, discussing and reviewing of the projects in the 25 years. Thank you.
Helps have a good county engineer.
Senior Citizens Tax Levy Committee, Mr. Daly.
No meeting.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Coffey, Sharon and Law Enforcement Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Sheriff and Law Enforcement Committee was called to order at 5:40 p.m. on August 5th with the following members present: Denise Corey, Rick Shook, Brian Marvin, and myself, Chairman, presiding. Also attending were Brian Houston, Sheriff's Office, and Lisa McMichaels, Administrative Assistant. The reports were passed out and reviewed. The board members discussed the reports, and Mr. Marvin and the committee were very satisfied how efficient the Sheriff's Department was running with their budget. 5 more positions are to be filled out of the 22 applicants they had. There was no old business, no new business, no miscellaneous business, and the meeting adjourned at 5:57 p.m. on a motion by Mr. Marvin and a second by Ms. Corey.
Thank you, Mr. Coffey. At this time, the supplies and claims report, please.
Mr. Chairman, the Supplies and Claims Committee met and reviewed the bills, and we are forwarding to the board for approval.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I so move. Yes.
Yes. Is there a second for that? Mr. Coffey, make a second. Discussion? Not roll call, please.
Barone,
Yes.
Bell,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Corey. Yes. Daly,
Yes.
Jody,
Yes.
Dowdy,
Yes.
Marvin,
Yes.
Metzger,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
Yes.
Zuham.
Yes. I don't believe any old businesses, new business, none. Miscellaneous business. Mr. Daly and myself attended a review of the law that's going to take effect as of January 1 on the legal use of recreational cannabis within the state and how it will be affecting counties and municipalities as far as income taxation, what can and what can't be done, the details of the act and the verbiage that's in it, what we are allowed to do, what restrictions we have. A very, very well put together, very informative meeting. Also attending Public Health Administrator Diana Stinger from our Public Health Department because it's going to greatly affect the citizens of the county. The potential is there. So we will be working initially the Health and Safety Committee, generating ideas, reviewing everything that's out there, getting more input as more information is available from the state agencies And we will invite the Public Health Department to be in on that. We will also be inviting the different law enforcement agencies across the county to come to the table, bring their ideas, what they think. So it is an opportunity to plan ahead, to deal with, make plans for dealing with a situation that may or may not be beneficial. I pass no judgment on the use of recreational marijuana, but we have to be prepared as a county and municipalities on how we're going to handle the scenarios as they play out.
Mr. Chairman, I think it's going to be a big hassle.
I believe it
really do.
And that's why we have to sit down now and start getting, for lack of a better, get our ducks in a row, get some kind of plan and policy tuned into so that we can try and have our, but that will be coming down the road. That's just a bit of miscellaneous business that happened here just at the very beginning of this month. Okay. Any need for executive session? If not, announcement of appointments. We have one appointment to the Brewster Rice Drainage District, one appointment to the Coles Clark Drainage District, one appointment to the Drainage District number 12 of Humboldt, one appointment to Drainage District number 2 of Mattoon, one appointment to Holman Mutual Drainage District, one appointment to Kickapoo Drainage District, and one appointment to Little Wabash Drainage District. One appointment to the Loxo Drainage District, one appointment to the Consolidated Drainage District number 4 through 12 of North Oka, one appointment to the Shellhammer Drainage District, and one appointment to the Union Drainage District number 1 of Mattoon and Whitley. Brings the agenda item up for remarks from the chair. At this time, I would recognize Mr. Shook, who has asked to share a comment. If you would, Mr. Shook.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We, over the weekend, obviously, in Coles County in Mattoon, we had a terrible, terrible situation happen. I'm pretty sure everybody knows about it and all that. That's in my district in Mattoon. It happened just about 2 blocks from my house. And the family, the mom and dad of the boy, we live a block from me. I just wanted to let the families, both families, know that my district, District 8, is praying for them and hoping that they get through this. We know it's going to be tough. If you don't mind me saying, 8 years ago, I got sick. I got real sick. And there was things going on in my life. My job was going crazy. My dad died and all kinds of stuff. And I was about ready to throw in the towel, big time. Throw in the towel, just give up. I went to Jesus Christ and talked to Him, and Jesus Christ told me to hang in there. There's help out there. I'd like for everybody here to say, and maybe discuss with their families and stuff, that there's help out there. We can help people if we all stick together. I know this county is going through a tough time right now, in more ways than one. But I surely hope that we can all, if there is a problem with somebody, step out and try to get some help. There's some help out there, and maybe we can help them. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Shook. Heartfelt. Thank you. Okay, this brings us to public comment time. Again, we have a roster here for those who want to address the board in this chair. Our comment policy is requesting, a 3-minute time period to share your thoughts and your comments with us. We ask that decorum and respectful behavior and language be used at all times. So at this time, I will, since I have preparation here. As a reminder to myself and others, I have set a timer so that we can just be aware of what's going on. Ms. Kelly Munyon is first on the list.
First of all, I just would like to say that this is not something I'm good at, and I don't like doing it. Didn't think I'd find myself in this position. But after doing an interim position at the Supervisor of Assessment Office, I do think that the county board, everyone on the board, and the taxpayers of Coles County need to know what I found. So for starters, the DevNet program that was, Kelly Lockhart might be able to tell us since he's here tonight, what the county paid for that system originally. Do you know what we pay for it, what the county pays for it every month?
No, I cannot.
Okay.
I think we pay quarterly, but I don't know.
It's a bunch. That's all I remember. That was installed in 2011. That was 8 years ago. There are still 1,917 properties still in the old ProVal system, which hasn't been updated since years before that. So everybody in the old ProVal system is not paying their fair share of taxes because it's too low. So as the assessor makes changes, the office pulls that over from ProVal. The values are incorrect, they're too low. So instead of leaving them at the correct value, they're taking functional obsolescence off of every property to make it right. That's a big issue. Because, we're still levying for taxes, somebody has to pay for it. So the rest of us are paying that. We're paying more than those people. The functional, that's an issue, and it needs to be changed immediately. Another thing that I noticed, the leasehold exemptions, which is fairly new, and when I held a board of review meeting, I did ask Matt Fredericks about that, because I didn't understand it. I didn't know what it was for, or what it was designed for. And still have more clarification now. I did speak with the Illinois Department of Revenue, Adrienne Bailey. I have emails from her as well, stating what it is about. She said it was originally designed for like Lake Charleston, when the land is leased and properties and the homeowners own their home, because it is an owner-occupied exemption, is what it is. They also are paying the property taxes. So in their lease, it has to state that they are paying the property taxes, and out of their own funds, by the way. So I started looking into this, and there was a stack on the desk a foot high just from this year that had been turned in, exemptions that had been turned in. I was only able to get through Charleston, and in a day, a very long day. Not one of them was correct, not one. They were stamping it received at the counter, initialing it. Somebody else was putting on the exemption, initialing it. There were properties on Lincoln Avenue, zoned commercial, student rentals with 10-month leases, which, by the way, it clearly states in the statutes that it has to be a one-year lease. Also found out they're splitting duplexes. So a duplex now, they're splitting it so there's two parcels. So they're getting a $6,000 owner-occupied exemption on each side. I'm a little shocked about that, and I asked one of the girls, who told you to do that? That's not right. They said the higher-ups. I said, who are the higher-ups? And that would be your supervisor or Department of Revenue. But their answer was, the board. The board told them to. So I'd like to know, is it the Board of Review? The county board? Who told them it was okay to do this? Do you have an answer, anybody?
I can assure you it was not this county board.
Okay, well, something that we need to look into. I asked Matt Fredericks about it, because I didn't understand, and he said, well, that's what Champaign County's doing. So it's not right. But after further investigation, Matt Fredericks and Bob Becker have them on all the rental properties. So it's a problem, and this board needs to be more transparent. You're not. And when you ignore people and they ask for answers to things, it looks like you're hiding something. You need to be more transparent. The taxpayers of Coles County and citizens have hired you to do a job. And I would like to see these things changed. It's costing the rest of us a lot of money in taxes. We are the third highest county for property taxes in the state of Illinois. Why? Well, that's part of it. You know, I was just there 60 days, so I'm sure that's not even a quarter of the issues there. And just so you all know, I was keeping Brandon Bell, you, Mike Suhome, Stan Metzger, in the loop. Every time I found something, we had text messages, emails, phone calls. When I watched one of the last meetings that I couldn't attend, and they were asking for numbers, a group of citizens asking for the numbers, I said, I texted you guys, and I said, look, I think I can help. Let's get them in here, find out what they want. If it's something they don't understand, let's explain it to them. Have Bob Becker come in. We're still paying him, he's on the payroll. Let's have him in to explain to them what it is these numbers are, because they deserve to know. And the only one that thought it was a good idea was Brandon Bell. So I did reach out to them with your permission and blessing. Brandon thought it was a good idea, and asked them to get us something in writing so we could figure it out. You guys have to be more transparent. And if this isn't something that you want to do or have time to do, then resign. Let somebody else come.
What was the good idea? What's a good idea?
To contact this group and ask them what numbers is it you're looking for and how can we help?
Well,
give us a list of what you want. Give us a list of what you want so we can find out. If I don't have the answers, let's have Bob Becker in to explain
well, I've
himself.
already said that. I've mentioned that 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, well, why hasn't it happened? Why do you keep sweeping things under the rugs? There are big problems in the county and with the assessments. Really big problems. There's a lack of training and knowledge in that office right now. There are 3 that were hired from the school district as teachers' aides who didn't get the training they needed. They don't know what they're doing. And, you know, they're not even reading these exemptions to come in to make sure that what they're handing out to say what they need to get this exemption, even what was on there, which was wrong, it's still, those leases don't say anything. They don't say that they're paying for the taxes. It's not a one-year leases. We had a bunch of student rentals that were 10 and 11-month leases Not, like I said, not one in Charleston, not one of them. And I would bet you that none of them are legal and legit. They do not meet the statutes.
You've been
And
doing
that's
this for
pretty-
3 months?
This, pardon me?
You've been doing this for 3 months?
I found this out in 60 days. Well, actually, the second day I was in the office, I found out when they were switching, when they were pulling over from ProVal, they were having to take it off functional obsolescence. And I said, whoa, 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 whoa. As a 20-year real estate appraiser, I know what functional obsolescence is, and they do not need to be taken off functional obsolescence. Got on the phone, called DevNet, had them here twice, and they even said it's a mess. It's a terrible mess. And we're paying a lot, the county's paying a lot of money for this DevNet program, and you're not utilizing it properly. You've still got 11,917 properties in an old system that hasn't been updated in many years. That was 8 years ago. So you know their values are not correct. Who do you think makes up the difference for those taxes?
Who do you think whose fault is it?
Well, who is holding them accountable? Who is holding them accountable? But the board doesn't need to be rewriting the statutes and doing things to benefit them. And that's what it appears to be. That's why you need to be more transparent, because it appears that you are all taking advantage of this, and it's not right. It's not right. And you guys know it isn't. The board should not be running that assessment office at all. The Illinois Department of Revenue sets the standards and the statutes, and you should go from there. But like you, Mr. Zumholm, at a meeting, you and Brandon and I met, and I said, one of the gals had mentioned that a farm site, home site, was 1 acre. Well, back in the day, every farm had a 1 acre home site. That's what you paid taxes on. The rest was farmland. And she said it clearly says, in the looks like in the pictures, that it's more than 1 acre. It looks like more 5 or 6. So my answer was, call the township assessor, have them go out and measure it. And you, Mr. Zumholm, would you like to share what you did or what happened?
I'm going to ask you to wrap this up.
Okay. Well, on the way down the elevator, you said that you had stopped in to see Andrew about your farm home site, just to ask questions. And he said, well, let me look at it. Well, we can change this, we can change this, and change this, and there you go. And you laughed about it. I mean, I think you're intimidating them, and they're making changes and doing favors to the board. That's what it appears to be. And I would like to see these things change, and I would like to see you be transparent and work for the county and the citizens who hired or who voted for you to help.
To be clear, I made no request of anyone to make any change whatsoever.
You didn't. You just inquired, and he made the changes for you. And you said that. You didn't ask him to make the changes. You just said you were inquiring about it. Those changes weren't public. They weren't reported in the newspaper because of the way it was handled. I just want to see you all be transparent, and I want to see these changes fixed, because we are paying more in property taxes, the rest of us, for the ones who are not paying their fair share. And it needs to be fair and equitable. It is across the board, everybody. And if you're splitting duplexes for, and by the way, everything I have said, I have proof that it's happened. So every duplex that you've split for whoever they were, you need to announce that, and you need to do it for every citizen, everybody in Coles County. But it's wrong, and you know it's wrong. That's all I have.
Perryman?
I'll pass.
He's going to pass.
I'm good.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Beasley?
I'll pass my time.
Mr. Donaso?
New information, I should probably count to 10 before I say anything. That's what my mom used to say. going to do that. Okay.
Before you begin, I allowed Ms. Munyon extra time beyond the 3 minutes. I will grant to you as well.
Appreciate that. I wrote my things down, so I should be free for today. I've been saying all along about transparency, honesty, accountability. And if that just doesn't sum up what we've been coming here the last 33 months, and if it doesn't end any questions in anyone's mind on this board that we're just a bunch of troublemakers, we don't know what we're talking about, you better rethink your positions. Because that woman was in the office 61 days, like 62 days. I've been here, how many is it, 800 something days we've been doing this? Anyway, we've been here 32 months. We're no more closer to resolving this problem this month than we were 2.5 years ago when we got involved. County board has not been upfront with us. They haven't been transparent with us. And in light of these new revelations, it makes me even more angry because we have suggested to you before with the appointment of Dan Lawrence and also about keeping away from that board and stop having your tentacles wrapped around the supervisor assessment's office. You ignored us. You've ignored us on everything. We've come to meetings, we've asked questions, we've gotten no answers. I don't know Kelly very well, but she did reach out, like she said to us. And I said at the meeting, I think last month or the month before, how happy I was that she reached out because someone was actually listening to us. And I appreciate the fact that you were going to try to solve some problems and move forward because we haven't been able to do it 2.5 years. And I appreciate that. It's too bad that you decided to appoint somebody else, okay? Because I think now I have a better understanding. You guys can put 2 and 2 together and figure out why she's not going to get the job, okay? And I'm just going to leave it at speculation because that's all you give us. So here we go again. This is round 33. I've come here every month, and whenever I've presented things, I have proof to back up that my statements are true. I have FOIA requested probably more than anybody in this room. I have thousands of pages of documents, emails from people in this county, and legal documents that prove that what I'm saying is true, and I will present it to anyone at any time if they doubt what I'm saying is true. I've already presented it, some of it. Some of it's been presented in the lawsuits that we filed. But I want to ask Mr. Danley a question. Mr. Danley, do you know who the statutory clients are, who your legal statutory clients are in the county? And I'm not trying to grill you, I'm just trying, do you know who they are?
Yes, I do, Mr. Moss.
Okay, do you know that we're one of them, right? Let me read an AG opinion to you.
Okay.
So you don't think I'm making this up, okay? And I'm going to read it right from here. It says, the people, the county board, and the county officers, those three. And sometimes when there's a conflict that arises among the three groups, you're supposed to look into it by law. I got an AG opinion here, and I'll read it in a second, just part of it. And you're supposed to decide, based on the evidence and the facts, who you're going to represent in the case. You've decided to represent the county. I'm going to read this. In Courtney versus Ashton, it held in effect that a case involving a possible conflict between the people's interest and a county officer's exercise of his power, the state's attorney must determine which position is correct and represent that party. This implies that his office is not required to act in a dual capacity and provide counsel for the opposing party. It is a logical extension that the state's attorney, when the interest of the county board and county officers conflict, must determine which position is correct and represent the party with such position or interest. Which position is correct? Now, we have presented overwhelming documentation that the board acted inappropriately and hired Mr. Becker illegally. We have represented, we've given all the representation in the lawsuit, we've given all your legal documents, but you've refused, just like your predecessor, Brian Bauer, to represent us. You sided with the board. Even though the opinion of the Office of the Attorney General of the State of Illinois says otherwise, that you got to decide which party is correct
and represent them. So we have no representation, so we have to come to these meetings each month. So let me just tell you what we've provided as clear evidence. And I want everyone in the audience to understand this is documented facts that I have FOIA requested and presented. Number one, okay? The minutes of the May 2015 County Office and Rules Committee meeting where the committee debated on whether to forward the bid proposal from Tyler Tech, which is a large outside company that specializes in assessments, or forward the bid proposal by Mr. Becker to the Coles County Board for approval. Why don't you ask Mr. Bell, Mr. Daly, or Mr. Metzger, who were at that meeting, if that's not true? They all were in attendance. Tyler Tech was not vying for a job in the supervisor assessment's office to be a deputy. They were an outside contractor trying to get the work to reassess the county, which isn't even legal anyway, we can talk about that. We have Mr. Becker's bid agreement he submitted to the county board. We've provided the minutes of the May 12, 2015 Coles County Board meeting where the board approved the bid agreement. Many of those people who voted on that bid agreement are in this room today. We've provided Mr. Becker's non-employee 1099 form. I've invited several business people in this room. Any employer here knows that a 1099 is a contracted worker. It's not an employee. They get W-2s. We provided that. We provided Mr. Becker invoices he submitted to the Coles County Board. We have provided the vendor payments, copies of them from the Coles County Treasurer's Office paid to Mr. Becker. Notice I said vendor payments, not employee checks. There's no federal state withholdings, okay, for 2016 or 17, and part of 18. We provided emails from the former Supervisor of Assessments Karen Biddle and former County Board Administrative Assistant Elaine Kamada denying our FOIA request for the formula Mr. Becker used in calculating the new assessment values for our properties. They claimed his work wasn't subject to FOIA request because he was a contractor. Those are her words, not mine, in the emails we provided you. Then we have videos of the 2017 January, February, and March Coles County Board meetings where the former State's Attorney Brian Bauer and then Chairman of the Board Stan Metzger admits he was a contractor. It's on videotape. You could go to our Facebook page and look at it. They say it themselves. Then the most damning piece of evidence, 2 letters sent by the past Chairman of the Board Stan Metzger to our then State Representatives Reggie Phillips and State Senator Dale Ryder, where Mr. Metzger states in the first lines of the letter, and I can provide you copies, Coles County recently entered into a contract with an independent appraiser to update assessment evaluations of commercial, industrial, and multi-unit properties. He signed the letter. Now, that's documented evidence I give you. I challenge you to ask them to provide evidence that contradicts the evidence that I've already provided and tell me that you can honestly represent them and not us in the case in stating that he is not a contractor and that he's an employee through the Supervisor of Assessment's office. And I know you walked into this hornet's nest. I was hoping when you took the job that maybe we get someone from the outside and someone would be unbiased. But these are documented facts. So with this AG's opinion, you're supposed to decide who's right. I've provided documentation of our group's evidence of what we say. They haven't provided anything. They've just been silent. They don't say anything. And then we don't get any transparency. And I think in light of what Ms. Munyon has said, this sheds a whole bunch of new light on this. But I want those deals. Come give me a deal. I want a deal like Mr. Daly got. Appreciate all parts of my building. Part of my building's storage. Part of it's living quarters, part of it's an office, and part of it's a gym. Why not give me 4 of them? And I want to remind all the board members, you guys are up for re-election next year, so are you, Mr. Daly, even though you've been appointed. You're supposed to work for the people. Well, people are not going to forget what kind of work you guys are doing.
Mr. Anthony Travis.
Hi, everybody. Glad to be down here. My name is Anthony Travis, better known as the Tax Doctor. We talk about property taxes all over the state. We have 102 counties in the state of Illinois, and every last county have tax problems. The biggest problem we have in our state, we have too many school districts, and we have too many units of government. We have 7,000 units of government that affects everybody's taxes in this state. We have 2,070,000 students in the state of Illinois, and we have 856 school districts. In the state of Florida, they have 2,700,000 students and between 68 and 74 school districts. Now you see why our property taxes in this state is out of whack. And when it comes to county government, back in the 50s when the Good Government Group got started, and they came up with all these fancy ideas and created the village manager form of government and all that good stuff. They did that because citizens, like the good citizens you have here in Cole County, got together in the 50s, raised the same issues about transparency. And that's why they said back in the 50s, we got to get the politics out of the day-to-day operation of government. And in some cases, I know that's hard to do. But your job is to serve the people. Okay, that's fine. That's your job. Hi. And when the citizens have to rise up and tell you, we're watching you. And if you don't listen to us, because see, what we fail to realize, I'm a public official too. What the people say, we don't work for you. You guys work for us. And your job is to do the things we want you to do so that we all can live a good life. So, I represent a coalition of organizations throughout the state of Illinois. And my brothers and sisters here in Cole County is part of our coalition. We just want you guys to do the right thing, treat the citizens with respect that they deserve, and as the sister pointed out, in 6 months, she found all those issues.
60 days.
60 days, 3 months.
2 months.
That's a shame. But you know what, folks? It ain't just down here. It's in every county in our state that we got these issues. And it would be in the best interest of the 102 counties if you guys got these assessors together and work to try to solve some problems. And believe me, IDOR and the Department of Revenue, they're not our friend. Because they tell Brother James and Rob, it ain't their job to fix the problems within these 101 counties. It is their job. The only county in the state of Illinois that is separate is Cook County. And that's a shame, but that's the politics. But all the other 101 counties fall up under the jurisdiction of IDOR. And if IDOR can't do its job, then folks like you got to raise up and say something to your legislators, your senators, your state rep, because those folks work for us. We don't work for them. But they won't fix none of the problem facing the 101 counties that is under their jurisdiction. I thank you for your time.
Sarah Fair?
No comment.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Ralph Beck?
No comment.
Thank you. Mr. Rob Perry?
33 months ago, this story begins. And you're all going to hear everything that I got to say, whether you like it or not. And you're all going to wear what we have to talk about tonight home with you. Because it's the truth, and it'll only be the truth. 33 months ago, the story begins. Coles County starts a reassessment campaign and elects to put a quadrennial system in place, and then they turn around and reassess Mattoon Township only. That's the truth. That's what they did. The problem was that you didn't reassess all of the other townships that use the Mattoon School District. So you got one person paying more than the other, and it's fact. It's fact that you're not supposed to do that. It was brought to your attention, told you about it at the board that you couldn't do that.
I'm going to interrupt you for a second.
Yes.
In our public comment policy, you know what it is? It's 3 minutes. I'm allowing extra
You
time.
know what, you're
No, sir.
suppressing me now. You're suppressing the Let truth him about talk. what's going on. Let him This is speak. ridiculous. You're This is interrupting part him. of the problem because you don't care about your gas.
I have the right to
You can have
curtail.
all the rights you want. You've been called out tonight too. What about that?
I gave my answer, my response.
Yeah, I heard your answer and I don't like it.
I have the right to curtail repetitive comments. A history
You go
lesson.
ahead and curtail it and get this on tape because I'm being told to shut up. I got 3 minutes.
No, move on to non-repetitive comments. is
It's
what
not
I'm telling you.
non-repetitive. It's what you do. You do nothing. That's what you do. Nothing.
I will resume the timer. I paused it.
You know what? It doesn't do any good to talk to somebody that's boneheaded. I'm done. Just exactly what's wrong with this board.
Mr. Dukeman. Yes.
Okay, well, my question is concerning the health insurance. What do you have for me?
Could you give that to Mr. Dukeman, please? Digging into the records, there was question last month on whether a committee could enter into agreement, and in the October minutes of 1977, I found that resolution had been passed authorizing to enter into the agreement with the health insurance provider, giving the, at the then time, Buildings and Ground Committee the authority to investigate and pursue it, and then gave them the authority to enter into a contract with the health insurance, a group health insurance provider for county employees.
With this piece of paper you've given me, how do I know that this is not something that was just typed up to try to satisfy us tonight?
That is a
There's
copy.
nothing here as far as time, date, meeting minutes, anything like that.
That is a copy of the original, which is stored in the archives in the county clerk's office down in what we call the dungeon, you know, or the basement, the lower level. You can visit that. It's all public record. They are stored there for the public to go and view. So that's what I found and where I found it, and it's, like I said, recorded in the October minutes of 1977.
Okay, so right at this present time, all I have to go on is this piece of paper, though, that you're telling me the truth.
Yes, that's true.
And after what's been spoken tonight, we should believe you, is what you're telling me?
It's your choice.
I understand that.
Would you like to meet with me and go visit the archives?
We definitely will, yes.
Okay.
But I want to bring to light something Mr. Donato brought up as far as the state's attorney. His obligations, you know, to you, county officers, and the people. We brought this issue up with the insurance 9 months ago. To date, 4 county employees have drawn $19,620 compensation for their health insurance. For the last 42 years, if we just took an average of 4 people over that span of time, and there's probably been more than that on the board that have taken insurance through that period of time. Do you realize that we would be near $1 million in public funds that have gone out to county board members, $1 million. You're asking me, and the rest of the folks in this room, to believe what this paper here says is factual. I have a hard time, especially the way I've been presented with this, believing that. But I will meet with you, and we will go with the archives, and we will see those things, and we'll print those off, make photos of them, or whatever we need to do. But this, truthfully, as you know, proves nothing. Because, once again, the county resolution states before somebody takes office, 180 days prior, that in their compensation resolution, that it has to state their income as far as their compensation. And health insurance is compensation. I've got it in here as far as an AG opinion. And it's not on your compensation study resolution. Therefore, the folks in this room should not be receiving that benefit. If this proves to be true, then I'm going to ask Mr. Danley, if everything that we provide to you is factual and you find that the citizens of Coles County are right, at that point in time, could we file a complaint with your department, and would you seek to seek these funds back from these public officials?
You can file a complaint with my department, and I will review the entire thing as I do with anything else I receive. Okay?
So we could do that anytime?
Well, appropriately, Rex, of course you know that.
Sure.
You know, we have a lot of crime that I have to prosecute on a regular day, too.
Right.
But certainly I'm always open. You and I have sat down in my office and talked,
right?
So,
we have.
Of course, I would listen to everything you had to say, and I would investigate it to the best of my ability. Okay?
Okay. That's all I have this evening, and we'll make the appointment, Mike.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I was under the impression that the board closed the dumpster program because it was illegal. I was under that assumption. That assumption was evidently wrong, because once you had written documentation that it was legal, you didn't reinstate the program. In fact, I got excuses after excuses, delay after delay. First excuse was permit. Nope, don't need one. Main excuse was it was illegal. Nope, wasn't illegal.
Mr. Combs.
This is just leads up to, it's important, Mike. It does lead up to it. It's not, I know it's a repeat, but it's very short, okay?
Please, keep everything.
It will get very close. The last meeting we had, your interpretation was about household goods. Did you verify with the EPA about your interpretation? I did. Guess what you're wrong about again? Household goods are allowed. Under the transfer station, section 3, enclosed containers. Household goods are exempt. Okay? That's an excuse. Doesn't make it illegal. That was an easy, and township monitors it. The road commissioner monitors it, same day pickup, problem solved. But it's not illegal. Because I'm dealing with this board and because of the constant excuses, I asked, what's considered an enclosed container, please? Trash bag that's not ripped or tore. Okay? Third excuse, gone. Now, a year ago, when I proposed this situation, 2 board members came to me and the state's attorney, Mr. Bauer, after the meeting. When I said that I could get it legally in writing, that it wasn't illegal. Mr. Bauer told me if I could get it in writing, that his recommendation and advice to the county board would change. I didn't think anything about it until 2 weeks ago. Now, Mike, this isn't at you, this is for the board, but I know you'll know the answer, okay? When 2 entities enter into a binding contract and one fails to fulfill the obligation of that contract, they are guilty of?
I guess breach of contract, but I'm not.
Breach of contract, you're correct. breach of contract. The minute you had written legal documentation in your hand that it was legal, your illegal was your get out of jail card. It was the card for excuse to not uphold the dumpster program. When you had legal documentation in your hand saying it was legal and you failed to reinstate the program, you became guilty of breach of contract. Therefore, Allied Waste, I checked into this, some legalities. He's sitting there going, oop, missed this one. Legally, Allied Waste can sue you from the day you suspended the program because he will tell you, ignorance of the law or misinterpretation of the law doesn't count in legality. So legally, they can sue you for revenue lost from the day you suspended the program to current. My recommendation to them is let you go ahead and stall it out. Let you not reenact it. Wait till the contract runs out, then sue you. They can then get revenue from day one to the end of the contract. They're not obligated to put another dumpster on the program ground. And they can get interest on lost revenue.
Who's telling you this?
Legal advice. He'll agree with me. He knows what I'm telling you is true. He'll tell you. Now, this I didn't check. This is my opinion. Okay? You may have also opened up to a class action lawsuit from the people. Because of ending the dumpster program, they can consider it a grievance. Interruption of service. Wrongly, how would you word that? Wrong interruption of service. And actually a hardship for those people who relied on the dumpsters. This is the can of worms this board has opened up. Maybe they won't sue you, but I'm telling you they can. Okay? You had an excuse only when the law was illegal. It wasn't. And when you got written documentation in your hand that it was legal, your obligation was to reenact the service, and you didn't do that. Okay? This is an informative meeting. He knows what I'm talking about, and he's going to tell you that I'm not wrong. He's going to try to find a loophole for you, hopefully. I guarantee you. Because you're in some deep crap right now. You know what I'm saying? So, but I wanted to bring it to you. I've tried to work with you. I've tried to work with you. You've given me excuse after excuse. I've eliminated them one at a time because I confirm my interpretation. I called the EPA. I talked to Mr. Hooper. You know, so I think I've let you guys know all I can know, and I think that brings it to the conclusion. You've got a problem. Thank you.
Mr. Stott, Charles Stott.
I don't have much to say tonight, but I appreciate the time. I'm glad Mr. Shook said something about our troubles here in the county. We need to be concerned about that. I believe if we I appreciate these brothers coming down from Chicago. You know, the countryside needs the city, and the city needs the countryside. You know, if the countryside doesn't do well, the city can die. They have done that historically. But we're all in this together tonight, and we're brethren, we're sisters, brothers and sisters. Christianity gives us a unifying force. We've lost that. Our churches need revival, in spite of what some people say. Otherwise, we're coming apart, and we're certainly in desperate times. I would like to see, if we meet in this nice room again, it'd be nice to have the tables rearranged instead of having to look at everybody's back. I don't know if that's possible, but that way we could all hear better. And so let's keep these things in consideration and try to improve upon them. Everybody have a good night.
Thank you.
With that, all being said, motion to adjourn.
Can I say something real quick?
Yes.
James, I kind of wanted to just talk to you about your comment about transparency and our decision with the supervisor of assessments. And I want you to know that I felt like I was doing the right thing for our county to get someone in the position who had passed the exam and had the credentials to do the job. And if for me, and I didn't personally experience that anyone on the board was trying to get Kelly out and do any kind of weird switching to harm you in any way. I truly want to do what's right for the county, and we need someone in there that has the credentials and can do the job and stay there and be a permanent fixture and clear up and clean up and fix the messes that apparently are there. So I hope that's what happens.
I just think we have a trust problem. We have a trust problem between the people and the board, and this is what happens when we come for 2.5 years and can't get answers. So moving forward, my suggestion would be we be transparent. There's no reason for Les to have to do homework like that to find out about the dumpster program. There's no reason for us to come here 2.5 years and ask for answers. So this I'm going to put, not the individual decision of what you decided to do, but I'm going to put this on the board because 2.5 years ago, when you didn't listen to us and Chairman Metzger dropped the hammer and said, no, file your lawsuit in the April meeting, that was wrong. You work for us. You're my employee. I'm your boss because I'm a taxpayer. But it's the other way around in this county. And I don't like it. And guess what? It's going to be we the people because I will take my last dying breath before I let this board get away with what they got away with. And I'm telling you right now, there's going to be some resignations on this board for what you guys have done. Some of you cannot move forward. You've broken the trust of the people, and you need to resign. You need to resign.
I'd like to say something also. Moving forward, we have a new state supervisor of assessments, okay? We know there's a lot of things wrong in that office, and I think Mr. Bell, he said that many times. There's a lot of things broke. We need to get fixed. I would recommend that this here county put an advisory group together to oversee that office. Not any of you, but citizens of this county, to oversee that office that know that actually there are things wrong. Let's get those things fixed. And then we can help the new supervisor of assessments get those things done. And then our problems are going to be solved.
May I have the floor?
Pardon, Mr. Perry, yes.
The only thing, really what needs to happen, you're bringing somebody brand new in. I don't know how much she knows, but she's already against the mark because she's got problems to come to. It's not like it's a well-oiled machine. We ought to be drawn off of people that have the ability, whether it's some appraisers, people from both cities or whatever the cities, to come together to try to figure out how to fix it, because it's a quandary mess. It's a big, nasty mess. So the problem with all of this is not to sit here and argue every 30 days about it. I want some action. I'd like to see this whole board finally say, we're engaged with this thing and we're going to see it through. I've not seen any of that. I haven't seen anybody, and it may be because you don't know. Maybe that's part of it. But get engaged and try to fix it, because it's not going to go away, and we're not going to go away until it gets fixed. So I'm reaching out to you now, the board, reaching out to try to get involved with this. Brandon can't do it all by himself. It's just too much to do. Your new supervisor of assessment's not going to be able to do it neither. It's going to take a quantified effort to fix this. And if you're not willing to do it, then you need to not be on the board. Because this is what we want you to do. We don't come here to argue and yell. We come wanting answers and something fixed. That's what you're here to do. You're to take care of us. Thank you.
Very nice, thank you. I'll give a little insight into our new supervisor of assessment. She has 6 years of multi-township assessment. She has passed the state exam, and she is already, there are some credentials, a certified state, assessment person. She has had those credentials for many, many years. She's very aware. Her main focus will be to look at everything that goes on in that office and educate the employees better, find out what is most critical, and she's prepared to move forward with everything that needs to be done. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen next week. It's going to take considerable time to sift through it all and to work forward.
I get that.
And so,
We are willing to help.
Let's give her a chance.
yeah, well,
Exactly.
I asked for.
We are willing to help.
Yeah, I understand and I appreciate that. And thanks for the calm demeanor here at the end of the meeting. It's a lot easier to have a discussion when it's like this, so thank you for that. Motion to adjourn, please. I have a motion by Mr. Daly, a second. Ms. Purdy, roll call, please.
Jerome?
Yes.
Bell?
Yes.
Coffee?
Yes.
Corey? Yes. Daly?
Yes.
Doty?
Yes.
Dowdy?
Yes.
Copeland?
Yes.
Metzger?
Yes.
Purdy?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Adjourned, 8:30.
Brandon, could you do me a favor?